Adam and Diane have made this sort of a little therapy corner. And so we have a massage room on the right, a massage room straight ahead, and then this is actually the colonic building. So we come in, and there's some water therapy room in there called Watsu. We have another bathroom, and we have a sink. Okay, so double duty service. Now this is the room that they specifically built out for colon hydrotherapy. So you can imagine if there was a bathtub underneath here, you would just lay the massage table on top of the bathtub. You'd have your tank up over here, and you can kind of see where it's going. But now this looks all professionally built out, but really all it is an upgrade in the same concept. So what you have is the water valve turn on, and in this case you can set the dial here for different hot or cold setting, and I found I have to vary that a little bit. So you can turn this on and leave it on, and then they have this control lever, and that's if you were to actually be sitting here yourself to give yourself a colonic, you could just reach it easily versus having to virtually crawl to get to the on-off water valve. They have electricity right here, which would be very convenient. There's a clock. Now that's my clock, but you want to be able to time yourself on putting the water in, and that's my autoclave that I have set up. So what they have now is this is the drain, similar to the other drain. It's just the outflow for the waste, and then this just comes out, bing, and that will be cleaned. And then this is removable. Woo! Okay, so this is removable, and then that's just, goes down into the sewer. And you want to have this on because it prevents the tube from falling down in there. If you are the only one using this unit, then you won't need any kind of adapter. Now this is one kind of plumbing adapter, and another type of plumbing adapter is right here. So I could put this in there. It's just a piece of plastic tubing. And what that does is that you take this small section of tubing and you attach it right there, and then so you don't have to detach this line every time and clean it, because you're preventing the contact, basically the crotch contact with the tubing. And so you can just take this off, because this connects directly to the speculum. Take this off, and in this case they've got their Salon Care 20 volume peroxide, and they're keeping it in a wallpaper tray, which is a little difficult to see, but they've got all their tubes hanging. And so this tube, this small tubing, will go into the peroxide when it's done, and then that will sterilize any type of personal germs or fungus or anything that the person might have. But if you are just working on yourself, you can remove this, and then because it's just you're not going to affect you at all. So now the waste tube likewise has a connector which you soak in the peroxide each time. And so you have, this is like a clear plastic. I buy this, once you find a source for these, you can buy them online, or you can just have the plastic cut to order. And so then these two things go together, and the clear section is so that you can see. And what they're going to do is install a mirror on this wall, so that when the person is sitting there, they can look in the mirror and watch this tube and see what's coming out. So what you need to do though is clamp this off, because this line is a little bit long, and we've discussed it, because this line goes to the tank. Okay, so Now they've got this a little bit junked up, and I recommend that that gets clean. But so the water mixer connects to the input of the water, and so when you turn that on, this hose then just fills the tank. Very simple. They have built a little hole into the wall so that you can read what the temperature of the water will be. So before I turn the water on, I've got to clamp this off. There's all types of different clamping devices. This is just something you can buy at any type of hardware store, department store type thing, you know. It's just got to have a really strong spring, and you have to be able to work the spring, because just a little hand power, but it's good exercise. Okay, now you want to, when you're done, you want to leave this hose here open, because if you put the clamp on, you're going to have water in this hose, and the water overnight will create mold, and then you get mold in your line. So you want to have a spot like a sink or a bucket. You know, you could put that in, and then the bucket's going to allow the water to sort of drain out. In this case, what I did was I just went like that. And so, but you can see there's still a little bit of water in the line. It's going to take a while before this is going to get mold in it. Something else that you can do before you even put the line on, you can put it into the wallpaper tray and get the peroxide all running through it, and the peroxide will help to prevent any type of mold growth. So so we take this hose and we clamp this off, and then in this case we turn this on. Now we don't hear anything, and also because it's the start of the day, I'm going to turn up the heat just slightly. So this is the master control at this point. So I turn it on, and it's filling the tank. Once it gets up to the thermometers, which are just poked through the plastic, and they do not leak, it's pretty amazing. And so it fills the tank. Very, very simple. And once it reaches the little thermometer, we can tell what the water temperature is, and then it's also rising quickly. So you really want to pay attention to that water temperature. It can get up to 110 very quickly. You want it to be 100 or below. In some cases you can have it to be as high as 102. You really don't want to go any higher than that. Now I'm going to turn this down just a hair, because we are rapidly approaching 100 degrees. So I'm actually going to crank it all the way down. And see, I can turn it off here, but I like turning it off here because it's just simple. I don't have to think about it. Okay, so here's a bag of the plastic disposable scopes. This is SHP, Quality Products, Quality People, Quality Life. For professional use only. And so it has tubing, which I would just throw out, and it has a plastic speculum. And you can see it's pretty cheap and cheesy. It's got a little plastic plunger and just a little plastic tube, you know what I mean? It's probably cost 5 cents to make. And then there's the little wings on there to prevent it from going up, you know, too high. So what I use is the stainless steel version of this. I bought these brand new 11 years ago. You can see they are still just like brand new. So you keep them clean, and then you sterilize them either in a professional autoclave, which you can buy online sometimes for just a few $100s, or you can, you know, check Craigslist, eBay for you know, the best deals. The speculums, I'm not sure. You certainly could buy them used. There's nothing that would be contaminated about them. You just want to make sure that none of the metal pieces have been broken. This is the inflow that connects to your tank right there via this small hose. So this small hose connects to there, which connects to the longer hose. Okay, and the plunger, and just as a note, when the plunger goes in, a lot of times there's fecal matter immediately there, and so when you pull out the plunger, there'll be little tiny pieces of fecal matter on here, or sometimes quite a bit. But you kind of want to make sure and wipe that off right away, because it will harden within 30 minutes, and sometimes it's just like very difficult to get off, and you can take a toothbrush or some kind of a brush and clean on it, and it will not come off. You have to almost use sandpaper to get it off. And then if you're boiling it or whatever, it might still stay stuck on there, and then of course you don't want to put even your own fecal matter back in your body. So that's just a point of note. And then you have, of course, different forms of lubricant. This here is about $11 from Whole Foods, and this is a healing salve, and it's good for rashes and itches and that type of thing. So it's a good thing for really your anus, because a lot of people have little cracks and fissures and irritations around that area. I would not use the KY type jelly, but it's it's completely artificial, and that's kind of why you're doing the colonic, is to pull this kind of stuff out of your body. Now this here instead is the unpetroleum jelly, and it has pretty good ingredients in it: castor oil, coconut oil, beeswax, vitamin E. I mean, this is good stuff, and I think it's about $7 or $8, and the tube would last for a long time. So it's important what you use on your body. So other important things might be, different types of pillows. I just use a standard pillow like this one here. You might want to have a way to regulate the temperature in the room. You want to have plenty of lighting, and naturally you want to have some kind of a sink. Now a deeper sink would actually be better for this. We have one. This is a child-sized speculum, just waiting to be sterilized. And then you want to get some kind of vinyl gloves, which are available at most even grocery stores. And then you want to have a good type of cleanser to clean your table and to clean your scopes. I just use a dish soap because it's real good at cutting grease. Now there's a specific ratio, a gravitational ratio, because the higher the tank goes, the more forceful the stream of water that's coming out of the tank. So now when I came here, I observed that the tank was not putting out enough force. So I just grabbed some chunks of wood and sort of shimmed it up, maybe almost 2 inches. And what that does is that just increases the flow of water. Also, I've recommended to them that they not run this hose all the way around. I think it does create a drag on the force of the water. Instead, what they're going to do is they're going to run that line directly out through here, and so you have a much shorter hose between the person and the source of the water. What you'll find, a lot of people have these sort of kinky hoses. I don't know why they use that. Probably just because it's cheap. I don't like it. Something else you want to pay attention to are the clean areas versus the contaminated areas. So basically this would be a clean area, except for one thing. When you take the plunger out from the speculum, then what are you going to do with it? So in this case, what I've been doing is setting a paper towel down over here, which typically would be a clean space, making sure that the plunger goes directly on it. I'll illustrate. When you pull this out, the end of this will be contaminated. A lot of times it will have actually little chunks of fecal matter on there. And so what you have to be able to put it somewhere within reach, because you can't really leave to go very far. And another thing is when this is inserted into the person's body, now that's a direct channel, and a lot of times you'll have some pretty foul gas coming out, and even if it's yourself, it's just like stinky. So you want to get this hooked up pretty quickly. What you're faced with is you've got this plunger in your hands. So if you're working on yourself, you're going to have a little stool set close by and then just set that down. But if you're working on someone else, you just want to have a spot to quickly get that down. Now here's the other thing. If you'll notice, Another advantage to running the inflow line away from from your working spaces, you're not going to accidentally get poop on this line, and that would not be good. So you want to keep the inflow line completely clean, but in this case, on the short term, I can fit that down through there and just set it on there. And then what I'll do is, once this is unclamped, I'll set the clamp underneath here, which I won't unclamp it now. But what that does is it raises up the clear section of tubing and allows any air that's in this tube to flow out. That way you're sure that you're not putting air into your body. So there's some just little tricks of the trade. The main idea, as already outlined, is that you're filling your body with water and you're as easily as possible allowing it to come out, flow down the sewer. The water just continues to flow in your body, cycles around, comes out, and then when you're done, you're done. You get off the table and you clean up. It's so very, very, very simple. Okay, so this type of tubing I get locally at like a plumbing supply place. And what I do is I bring a sample. So this is an example of what they provided. So you get the new tubing, and I'll bring a sample for them. I'll say, okay, I need 5 more feet of this, and then I need 7 more feet of this. If you don't bring the sample and they just measure it, or you tell them the measurements, in the past I've received the wrong size. And even when I've given them the sample, they'll come back with the wrong size and I'll say, this is my sample, this is what you brought. You brought the wrong thing, because they go in the back. So what you want to do is find a supplier of these hoses. And they'll last, depending on how much you use them, anywhere, they could probably last 6 months. Or if you use them a lot, maybe 1 month. And how you can tell that they're wearing out is when you press it together like that, if it sticks, it actually has a slight stick to it now, but not much. So it bounces back pretty quickly. And this is actually a used tube. Let me show you a brand new tube. So there's no stick whatsoever. Right? So once this sticks and holds, what you're losing flexibility of the line, and it's actually the tension of the latex itself helps the water to be kind of snappy, and you like that because you want to be able to at some point sort of snap the water, and you can feel that in your colon. So that's the tubing, and then, like I said, these plastic see-through tubes I just buy at this kind of mom and pop plastic shop, and when they get in a supply of them, I'll buy maybe 25 of these. These will last, just depending on how long they go in the peroxide, they'll last forever, but they get real cloudy and then you can't see through them.